So welcome. This is a training on YuJa and how to edit YuJa videos. YuJa is our new video enterprise system. And what I'm sharing on the screen now is our blog. It's heartland-online.blogspot.com. And the training from today will be shared to the blog post later this afternoon. We've had a couple of trainings today on January 24th, 2022. We had a beginning YuJa training that happened earlier this morning, and now this one will be a little bit more advanced where we'll go into the video editor in some detail and talk a little bit more about quizzing. I'll also share with you some about the captions and our accuracy caption control if you're interested in learning more about that. In addition, YuJa does have some help guides that I wanted to share, and it is support.yuja.com. is the location for all of the training materials. And like Canvas, they have a knowledge base that you could type in a question here, such as video editing, and press enter. And then a series of knowledge base tutorials and videos will come up about how to edit videos and how to trim. So if you were interested, for example, on how to trim, here's a great article on that. You could select that. And then it has a nice table of contents that goes into all of the advancements of editing features. So I really do appreciate YuJa's tech support. They also have a toll-free number on their YuJa support at the bottom corner that you can call anytime, 24/7, and get a real person and talk to. They do not have a chat for our end users, but admins do have a chat. So if there's something urgent or you don't feel like calling, please pass it to us and we're happy to do that for you. Any questions about the YuJa chat or the blog? Okay.
None.
All right, thanks. There are two ways to access YuJa. We have an external way and an internal way. If you're not familiar with those, we have a heartland.yuja.com website that is public facing that you can log into your videos from using the upper right-hand corner of the screen and signing in. I'm already signed in to our my YuJa instance. Or within Canvas, if you go into Canvas, there is an option to connect to YuJa in any of your courses. So I'm just going to go into this older sandbox that I have here. And over on the left-hand side in the navigation bar, you will see a link to YuJa. Now, keep in mind that Studio will be retiring tentatively on March 1st of this year. But there is a chance that we will extend that contract through the end of May. But for right now, please keep on your radar that March 1st, Studio will no longer be our video enterprise system. YuJa is replacing that. However, the link to YuJa will only be inside of classes on the navigation bar, or you can go to heartland.yuja.com to locate it at an external resource. So once you are inside of a Canvas course and you select YuJa, we've learned from our beginning YuJa training how to create a recording and how to upload content, which we did here in this sample video from our morning training. Now, if we want to edit video content, we can hover over the video and select edit. That's going to open up our video editor. Give that just a second to load. Now, are you or either of you familiar with advanced editing at all?
I am.
Okay.
I did have a question for you on the previous screen, though. So you have all of these videos that are not in a folder, and you have folders. Is there a way to move them from this? Move them into a folder if they are not created in the folder?
Yep, you sure can. You can go to the more item to move it, or you can, if I were in Chrome, I could drag and drop them. I believe as well. I think
I'm in Chrome and I am not able to drag and drop them. And I am in more, but I can't find the place where that happens.
Okay, hold on to that thought and I'll come back to that.
That's fine. I just,
Yep.
because I had tried to do that earlier and wasn't able to.
Okay, thanks for that question. We will, let me come back to that.
Circle back.
All right, so I've already edited this one here before our training today. So I'm going to choose a video here that I haven't edited yet. So that way it'll look more like what you will see for the first time instead of one that's already edited. So I'm going to hover over one of my videos and select the edit to open up my video editor. Now I will tell you that when you open up the video editor, I'm actually using Firefox right now, but I tend to like Chrome better for editing videos. Just FYI, I think Chrome has some advanced settings that Mozilla Firefox does not allow.
Folder created already?
Jean Marie Jewell is here and she was going to answer your question for you. She's asking, do you have a folder already created like I do to move?
I do.
Okay, she does.
Because I was able to just drag and drop. I'm also in Chrome.
I can't do that in Firefox, but she's saying in Chrome you
I
can.
could just drag it to the folder I created.
And
Oh, it looks
I was
like I
able to
can
do it
too.
in Firefox.
Yeah, it looks like I can too. I just didn't hold on long enough. So
It may be that it wasn't fully rendered when I tried to do it. I don't know, but it did move just now. So thank you.
Okay.
I had tried it multiple times previously though and wasn't able to do it.
Okay.
And I wonder if it matters if which view I'm in, like which format I'm looking at.
If once you click on YuJa and you are here to the media library, that's where you go to move them.
I can't do it when I'm looking at folders vertically.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good to know. And you both know that, YuJa is new to Jewel and I as well. We are learning with you in some part as well. So there might be questions that I don't have the answer to, but we will look them up and get them back to you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Sure. All right, so yeah, just click and hold and I can see I drag and drop and it changes to an icon I could move that into if I wanted to. So that's great. I didn't think Firefox allowed that. So sometimes we learn together, team. Okay, so here I am in my editor. I'm going to close out my participants. I'm on this laptop and it's hard to see. Hold on just a second. Let me move my menus around a bit. Go. Okay, so let's talk about the video editor. First and foremost, the video editor has several tracks at the bottom. Do know that you cannot move these tracks. They are where they are. You can add tracks, but the tracks that are already there are kind of locked into place. The waveform track, if you click on the ellipse to the right of that and select show, that will show you that there's an audio waveform file. That's just the audio only. So if you did a podcast or if you wanted to replace the audio, then that's where you can see the audio waveform come in. Your primary track will always be video, always be video. So keep that in mind. You may also have a primary 2 track, which would be your doc cam or another video source that you might have. You might also have one called primary 3, which could be where you shared your computer screen. So depending on what type of video you have imported will determine how many tracks are predetermined. And then if you just uploaded a video to YuJa, you may not have a caption track yet. The captions are automatically generated, but they do take some time to generate. I don't think that we've had anything go over 6-7 hours, but they can take some time to develop. So if you don't see a caption track, you might wait and come back until you do if you want to edit captions. So on this particular video, this video has a caption track, it has a video track and an audio track, it has all 3 tracks down here at the bottom, and that's it. Over on the far right, you can zoom in and zoom out of those tracks by using the magnification tool. That can be helpful if you're adding specific videos at different second intervals and you want to, get really close in. Right now I'm at a 1 minute and 10 second mark. And the entirety of this video is a very long video. I think it's over an hour long. So it's a very large video. So I might want to zoom out so I can get more time in if I need to. All right, there is also a toggle button on the top right for advanced mode. And I always recommend turning that on because you do have additional features that aren't available to you if that's not turned on. The advanced mode gives you options like you can edit, such as adding an image, you can add text, you can choose the pencil and do writing. We'll go over those here in a minute. If you do not have that turned on, then you're unable to add those features, and you're also unable to edit captions and see the accuracy goal. So I always turn on the advanced mode, and eventually we might set that to just be turned on by default. We'll just see, how our campus responds to editing videos and if that's something that we're going to need to use more often. On the very far kind of top left here, we have the play option. Selecting play will start the video. You do have an audio output for your volume, and you can forward through the video using the slider, which is right below your image. Or you can also use the playhead. This is what we call a playhead. It's this blue timestamp. You can click on the time and drag the playhead through the different tracks, or you can get the double-sided arrow and click and drag. So either way, as long as you grab that playhead, you can move it into different positions within the video. Then to select play or going to YuJa, you can play and pause the video as you go. Now, if you want to edit the captions, this is a great place to edit those captions. You can see that the words are showing up here. You can actually click right in the caption and edit the caption just as you would like a document. You can also find the captions below and double click on them to edit specific captions. So a couple of ways that you can do that. While we're talking about captions, let me also talk about the accuracy. If you have advanced mode on the far right-hand corner here, we have a gear sign. Choosing that will allow you to select caption quality. I'm going to go ahead and choose caption quality. If you would like to know at a 90% rate how well your captions are doing, if you select 90% and you play your video and go through some of these captions, any word that the system, the artificial intelligence, thinks that it didn't articulate or didn't caption correctly, it's going to change the word to a different color. And so 90% is pretty high, and I don't think I'll probably have too many videos. Probably I'm not going to have anything in here because I've already gone through these captions. But if you go through, if you want a 90% accuracy, it does use artificial intelligence, and it will highlight the words that the artificial intelligence feels like they didn't capture correctly. Huge time saver when you're editing captions. For accuracy, just to have them go through and make those highlights, it's really nice to see. Also over on the right, you do have a closed captioning option. Choosing the closed captioning option will also allow you to edit the captions. And some actually prefer to do it this way, where you can click in that text area and make modifications. You can go to the next, you just kind of keep hitting next. And that's how you can locate those highlighted words that might be in error. And as I mentioned, I really don't think I have probably anything that's of error in this particular video, but if there were, it would highlight it in, I think it's a pinkish color. You can also change different languages. We have not enabled that feature, but we can change the captions to 12 different languages. If that's of interest, let us know. We are happy to turn that feature on globally, but I'd like to know if we feel like that would be helpful. I think maybe our ESL students, it could be very helpful. All right, you can also add additional captions. If you add audio, for example, over the top of something and you want to caption that, there is an add caption option that you can add as well. Questions about captioning, editing captioning. We do have an accessibility training. If you're interested, we'll go more in detail about this, but are there any questions right now about quick editing captions and the accuracy?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment, and that is that I think Spanish would be a helpful language. I noticed as I went through my roster that I have a number of athletes from Spain. And it looks like most of the soccer team is from Spain, and it looks like they're also on the women's soccer team. And so that could be a language that would be immediately helpful for some students. I know I have a student now who is struggling just with the language issue.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, and I'll take that forward, Jean Marie. Thank you. And that's great that we have, such a great diverse culture, and we definitely want to know those things. If it would be helpful, then we'll turn those on. We just kind of started with bare basics until we got an idea of what the faculty would like to see. So thank you for making that suggestion. I'm going to toggle those captions off so that it doesn't drive you crazy over there on the right-hand side. You just click that close caption button and that will toggle it off. Now, right beside captions to the right, we've already kind of went through the gear. There are some other settings under that gear, like you want to make sure the preview cut is turned on, and we'll talk about audio gain here in just a minute. But between the closed captions and the gear, there is an option for chapter titles. And chapter titles are helpful too for accessibility, where you can create timestamps and titles to take people to particular parts in your video. So I may not want this chapter title, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Probably not exactly what I want to use for a chapter title. So I could change that, and then you can make that indented, double indented. You can bold that. And so I wanted to show you that you can create chapter headings. Now, if you are familiar with like Camtasia or other editing software like Final Cut Pro, then chapters are going to be familiar to you. You'll know what those are. And a user could just, click on that chapter to take them to that part in the video.
Will those be created automatically? It looked like yours was created automatically, but I have none.
Correct. So that's kind of like the captions. They will take some time to render. So if you just uploaded a video, I would give it a couple hours, Jean Marie, and they will go ahead and load for you. Great,
thank you.
Yep. Right, so I'm going to toggle off those chapters. That's a nice feature. I really like the chapter editing. We have a few licenses to Camtasia, and we actually debated, if we kept Studio, could we buy licenses for the whole institution for Camtasia? We actually thought about that. Problem is there's no storage. Like, Camtasia would have to be installed locally, and then what would you do with your video? We don't have any global storage, so that's why we chose this. And I'm pleased that we have a lot of the same features of some of the other editing software tools out there. This is also a really nice feature beside closed captions. This is called an action list. This would be any action that you made in the video. It's keeping like a timestamp of all of the things that you're doing. I'll show you that when we're done with the video so you can see all the list of actions. But if you wanted, like you didn't really like this one that we did, you can just undo it. You don't have to undo them all. You can just choose which action you want to undo. Great feature. We'll just keep kind of going to the left. This is the speed of the video. Students can go up to 4 times the speed. So can you, or you can slow it down to a half of the speed. And you would be surprised, or maybe not, how many times students use that to speed up the video or slow it down. I just started using that tool as well. And I seem to retain the information better at a little faster pace. So just FYI that you have that option too. While you're editing, you can speed or slow down the video if necessary. Now, one thing you can't do, and this was a question that we had last week, we had an art instructor come in to get some help in YuJa, and they were doing a demonstration in a video on how to do a particular painting process, and she wanted to speed up that portion of the video. to kind of just show the final product. Well, we can't do that. We can't speed up parts of a video. We can cut it, but we can't speed it up. So this speed is only reflective to the video in a whole, not like a sub clip of it. So questions on that? We called YuJa and they were like, that's a great suggestion. We're going to put that into our recommendation list, but we're kind of disappointed that we couldn't do that. All right, I'm going to come down here now to my timeline and find where my playhead went. Let me play here, joining, and I won't have to. Okay, so I'm just going to move my playhead to a particular place, and probably one of the most common questions that you have is how do you clip out a beginning or an ending of a video, or maybe you misspoke in the video and you want to take part of that out. That's a common editing thing that we see. There's a lot of dead space here in the beginning. Maybe I want to cut that out. So you always want to put your playhead at the point where you want to start your cut. So I've got my playhead there at the beginning. And then what you want to do is select the scissor icon, which is the first icon here, and that means cut. So then you can drag, right? You can drag your playhead. Whoops, I'm going to drag it all the way over here where you want to finish the cut, and then you would press the cut button again. I'm going to keep that because I have some video or audio music that's going behind that. But cutting would just be trimming your video from start to finish. So you can see I have a little black playhead here, and then I have a blue playhead. If I cut it again, I'll have an option to cut that piece of the video out. So now it's turned gray. And if I am ready to save that, then I could come up to the save button and that cut will stay. None of the cuts are going to stay in YuJa until you save them. You have to save your changes in order for the cuts to stay. So you might want to go ahead and like finish editing your video and do your cuts last and then save. I think that would probably be a good workflow. That works well for me. But you can cut out any piece of your video by clicking once, selecting the scissors, dragging over, selecting the end point, and then pressing the scissors again to cut. That's a fairly simple process. You can also double click on the cutout area for additional options. So maybe you didn't get your playhead at the right second. Like sometimes I'm not real good at getting my playhead in the exact place I need it to be. So you can just enter the second value. Like if I said 10 seconds and hit apply, it's going to cut out those 10 seconds. That makes sense? Any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay, so you can see that I have created a couple of new cuts up there at the top, and I can undo those if I want to before I save it. So I'm looking at that call to action. So now I'm just going to undo by clicking the undo button here, and that will undo my last action. Right. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and move my playhead to somewhere else. And let's start here at the 30-second mark. Now we do have some options here to add additional content, which is exciting because that's what we were wanting to do with Studio. We just didn't have those options. So now we do. So a few things, this one graphic here kind of looks like a PowerPoint slide. If I choose that, you can choose to upload a document such as a PowerPoint, a doc file, a docx, an Excel, a PDF, a JPEG. Any sort of really file format will be accepted, and it will display over the top of the video. So if you wanted to, say, if you're highlighting something in your video that says in this document, then you could overlay the document on top of the video so the document could be shared while you're talking. So it's fairly simple to do. You would just put the playhead where you want the file to appear. We're going to select the file. Here's an accessibility PowerPoint. I'll choose that. And that's going to be probably large. So it's going to take a second to upload. Probably should have chose something smaller for demonstration, but that's okay. Shouldn't take too much longer. And then it will have to render. That PowerPoint will render on top of that video. So that will take some time too once it's embedded. But once it's added here, it's going to ask us what portion of the video or what slide, what primary waveform, like what it is the video, this accessibility PowerPoint, what is it going to override? And we have video 1 selected as our source. That's great. We have our accessibility PowerPoint file in here. And then how long do you want it to display? Well, 2 seconds isn't very long for a PowerPoint file. So you might want to, do 120 seconds. It goes by seconds, not minutes. So you have to put in how long you want it to go by seconds and then hit apply. Then you'll see it creates another track for that PowerPoint that will be overlaid over the top of the video. Now, don't be alarmed like I was just a little bit ago when I was doing this. As I'm playing, the PowerPoint isn't popping up. It's because it's rendering. And that was a fairly large file. So it might take some time to render. Don't be alarmed if it doesn't show up right away. When I was practicing for our training here today, I was alarmed, like, where's my file? I don't see it. But YuJa says that can take some time to render. So don't be alarmed if that takes some time. Questions on inserting images, documents, files? That's this first option right here. Any questions on that? Simple so far?
Mm-hmm. So far.
Yeah, I think it's fairly intuitive, really. Compared to like Final Cut Pro or some other products, this isn't too terrible. If you're used to those, Jean Marie, you said you had some experience with advanced editors. This is pretty basic considering some of those other advanced softwares. All right, I'm just gonna remove. Okay. This PowerPoint, if you double click on it or that image or document, you can change the durations of seconds anytime. So you can see that a couple of slides have rendered here, but not the whole thing. So 120 seconds, you could do that, or you can remove it. That's another way you can get rid of it or edit by double clicking. So all of that is editable after you enter something. It's not like you're committed to it. The other option that we have the little PowerPoint icon, but we also have a video option. If we select the video, then we have the option of choosing media that we've already recorded that we want to overlay on top of our video, or we can upload media. You can select an MP4 file to upload. Now, after January of next year, I know it seems like a long ways away, a year away, but they have a new tool with YuJa that they're working on that will also allow you to embed YouTube, on the top of this, and Vimeo and some other sources. But for right now, we can only choose MP4 videos. So that's nice. If you have another video, one example that I've used this for in the past is I was recording a video for my ADC course, and I wanted to share a student created video in the video as I was talking about it. So I shared one of the students in the course, their video that they created, so the new cohort could get an idea of what the final assignment was going to look like. So that's one idea of how you can use it. Can you think of any other ways or why you'd want to upload a video on top of your video? Any other thoughts about that?
Maybe if you want them to review another video at this point to get more clarity, that is one thing I could think of.
I think too, those Zoom videos, maybe like, did you miss the lecture? Here's a segment of class that you missed if you didn't attend. And then you could, clip it to make it maybe just a minute or two of whatever concept you reviewed in that Zoom class. Might be kind of cool too. I think that's great. Great suggestions. Anything other comments other than those? Okay.
Well, for marketing, I could insert actual ads. We have a unit coming up on the Super Bowl. Well, the unit's not coming up on the Super Bowl, but we have a discussion that's going to talk about Super Bowl ads and have them look at those. That would be a place that I could do that.
That'd be a great place. Then, I'm always a fan of that, Jean Marie, because then your users aren't having to go outside of Canvas. They're on your Canvas page, they're watching your video, and it's not like you're telling them in the video, now go watch this, and then they have to go do it on their own because chances are they won't, right? So it's nice that you can put those right in the video when the learning is happening. I think that's a great strategy. The other icon is a graphic. You can add a watermark or an overlay over the top of your image. You can blur or black out a region. This is very helpful if you have something on your desktop that you're sharing that you didn't intend to share and you don't want to record the whole video again. You can blur parts of the image out, or you can add a virtual background. Now, this one's a little tricky. The virtual background is, especially if your background on your image, like my background here, is kind of cluttered. I've got a door and my coat, and there's a file cabinet. I mean, it's kind of cluttered back there. After you choose a virtual image, you have to come and choose a background like a beach or maybe just a solid color, whatever graphic you want to use. It has you choose the parts around the image that you want to exclude. So this one might be kind of tricky to do, but you could do it. And it works fairly well. The blur blackout region is probably the one I've used the most, but you can block out the entire video, and have just audio, or you can do a specific part. You just tell it how long you want to go. Maybe it's just 10 seconds. You were sharing something that you didn't intend. And then if you double click again, you can change that duration. So a couple of options for you there. Any of those edits that you add, there's an X in the upper right-hand corner of those additions. If you click the X, that will remove it. So the other option we have the graphic, we have the text. So here we can add some text. Seems like I tell people this all the time, but I'm going to make it super big and I'll run it for 10 seconds. I'm always pointing users how to log into Heartland. Go to canvas.heartland.edu. You might tell your students that same thing. So here's the text, and you can drag it around on the screen. So as you're saying it, you can actually put up the URL. I love that feature, right? How many times we point students someplace, and it's nice to actually put the text on top of the video so they know where they're going. If you hover over the text, there's some settings. The font size 59, that may or may not be too large or too small for your video. It's depending on the size of the video that you have recorded in. It depends on your resolution. So if I was recording in Zoom, the resolution's not as high as it is if I'm doing a Zoom recording in YuJa. So 59 may look huge in my Zoom recording, but for this specific recording, it doesn't look too huge. 59 is the largest I can go. Just keep in mind that normally students are going to be watching these videos in full, like on a full screen. So the text will be much larger than it appears in your editing mode. So if you want to change the text, you would double click the text, and then you can change what text you want to show, the size, and the duration. Questions on the text feature? I love that tool. That's one of my favorite tools, is the text tool. Do you guys like that tool?
I know you said you couldn't read the chat, but can you see reactions?
I can see reactions. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Yeah, the text tool is pretty awesome. Love it. All right, so I'm going to take it out just so I don't have all these edits all over the video. It's easier for you to see, I think. This last one is a pencil icon. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not a fan of this tool. I think it's hard to use. I'll show you why. I'm going to put my playhead here, and I'll select the pencil icon, and you can choose what color you want. So let's choose something bright. I'm going to choose yellow and apply. Now, if I were sharing my screen, this might be helpful, but if I'm just going to do like create new, okay, so I've got that selected, and then I come up here on the video and you can write. You write right on top. So if I were sharing my screen, like I might be able to like point something out. That could be helpful, but I am terrible at controlling my mouse and writing. It looks so sloppy. have not been a fan of this, but it's only because I don't have much control in my writing ability here. So if you want to give that a try, if you want to point something out, then you just like click and draw. I'll give you a second if you want to, if you're trying it. You can save it once you've done, you can save the overlay, you come back to the pencil and you save it, or you can clear it or create another attempt. So I'm going to clear that. I'll create a new one. This time I'm going to choose a different color. I'll choose red. I'm going to point to Bloom's taxonomies behind my head. And then I could put some text up if I liked it. And if I wanted to save it, I would choose Save Overlay. And then how long do you want that to show up? So I'll say 5 seconds and hit apply. So now for 5 seconds, that arrow is going to appear. So if I hit play, training is dependent on the institution. So we had already planned on doing a series. So there it goes away after 5 seconds. So maybe if you want to highlight something important, or if you're sharing something, you want to circle something, but just for writing, like I wouldn't recommend the math team to use that for like solving problems in your video or something. I think that might be more difficult to do. All right, so I think that's pretty much it with the editor. I'm going to come up here and click save. And if this is a video that you have not edited before, I would always recommend saving as a copy of something, or never replacing your existing video, right? So once you've edited and you've added all these extra elements, then just save it as a new video. That's the kicker. And then you can add a description and update your captions. So I'm going to save this as a new video, and I'm going to put the date here, January 24th. And I'll save it as a new video. That way my original does not become this new version. That's the worst thing you can do. We cannot get those back. So if you make a mistake and overwrite it, there is no way we can go back to get those. So just always save as a new video. Questions on that? Okay. All right, well, I think that's pretty much it for the video editing. It's fairly intuitive. We do have lots of help guides and tutorials to help through that. I did want to pivot on the questions in this training because we don't have anything specifically related to the quizzes. So humor me just for a few minutes so I can show the quizzing tool. I'm going to click on the more option. Now to get to quizzes, any of these videos, you would just click on, hover over and click more. And that's how you would get to the quiz section over here on the left. Now, if you had a quiz associated to the video, the quizzes are going to be down here. And there is a grade book option. Now you're going to have it in Canvas too, but if you come here, you can see different analytics than you can see within your Canvas grade book. You can see things of how long it took them on each question, if they opened up new tabs when they took the quiz, if they copy pasted. Those kinds of details can be seen here, which you can't see on the Canvas side. Keep that in mind. So to create a video quiz, I'm going to select to create a video quiz here. And I shared a little bit of this in the earlier training today, but I just wanted to highlight it one more time because quizzes are widely used at Heartland. We have lots of folks using those. So here you can add your questions at the bottom. First, enter your quiz name, and I would start by putting your class name in first. So whatever your class name is, and then chapter, whatever quiz. And then here at the bottom, you would select to add your questions. And I chose multiple choice in the previous training, so I think I'll do a short answer for this demonstration. That was one of the most popular question types that faculty wanted here at Heartland, and we were unable to provide that with Studio, but we can now. There is a math equation editor as well, so you can put in math questions. And if you decide, oops, I didn't mean to choose short answer, you can change your question type after you've selected to add it. So don't worry if you've done that. All of the different questions have the same formatting toolbar, no matter what you choose. So if you choose reflective pause, same toolbar, everything looks the same. It's just a reflective pause is not asking for a response. It's providing a question for them, and it pauses for a time that you set, and then they have to stop and think about it before the video will continue. And then the decision point would be if they choose one particular answer, you can use that by creating additional options for students. So choosing one option may result in an additional question. So decision points are also new and hopefully helpful for some faculty that would like to use those in their assessment strategies. And true false is also a different question type than what we've had before as well. So you can set how many points these are worth using your upper right-hand corner. Now there isn't an import feature, like if you have questions in Excel, for example, there's no way to really import them in a nice format. You really have to do some copy paste here. So here we put our question type in. And then if it's true or false. Now, each of your question responses as well, there is an option to provide feedback. So let me see here. If, for example, let's say this answer is false. If they answer true, you can jump them back to a particular point in the video. So you can put in the timestamp of when you want to take them back within the video quiz, which I think is outstanding. Might be annoying for some of them. It's like, dang, I just answered this. Now I got to rewatch this whole thing again. But that's a way to ensure that students are watching the video and retaining it, right? It's going to take them back into a certain point in the video. All right, and you can do that with everything. Let me just toggle out of go back to multiple choice. Just show you that you can do the same thing on multiple choice as well. Okay. And when you are all done, you can save your video quiz. And then once you save, the question list is going to appear over on the right, and then you can go into those questions just by clicking on them and editing them. If you want to preview it, you can by selecting the preview option. And then there are quiz settings. So if you click on settings, here are some options that you have that we didn't have with Studio. We can provide answers right away. Here's where the disable fast forwarding comes into play. You can disable resubmission, so you only take it once, right? And then you're done. You can allow video only playback when the quiz is closed. So as soon as the quiz questions have been responded, they can still watch the video, but they can't take the quiz again. You can award credit based on the video watched completion. So if they, watch the whole thing or 80% of it, you can give them credit. That's kind of cool. So the system knows, what percentage of the student or which percentage, which was watched by each student. You can also record all attempts or only the most recent on quizzes. You can allow multiple attempts. And then in the LMS, this is how, or what result do you want to send to Canvas Gradebook? The first attempt, the most recent, or the highest. So you have the options to choose those as well. So a lot more options and features than we've ever had. And I think the experience, these customized experiences really makes the video quizzing, advanced compared to what we had with Studio. Feedback on that and those options that are available?
I had a question. Can we create ungraded quizzes here. So if I just want to quiz them on the concept that they're learning in the video, but I don't necessarily want to grade it.
Yes, so each of these questions, when you go in, you just make the points worth 0.
Okay.
That's how you do that. And then in the Canvas, when it shoots it to Canvas, you can make it ungraded because you can still have those same settings on a quiz that you normally have. You can change them in Canvas as an ungraded quiz. You can change your points there too.
Makes sense.
So that would allow you the option to have it scored, but not necessarily part of the grade. Scored, but not graded.
Correct. Yep. And I think that's great to have both, like you have a formative sort of checkpoint, but it's not worth any points in your grading scheme for your class. But perhaps on playback mode for the student, it could be worth, points to them as they watch it just to retain it. Or you can disable the points altogether and they still have to take it. But you have options of what the experience is that you want the student to get out of it. Any other feedback on that? Just have to remember to save it and then you have to post it. If you don't post it, it's not going to go to your Canvas. So you're going to have to choose when the quiz opens, when the quiz closes, and then what course you want to post it to. You can choose multiple. You don't just have to choose one and then post. Where I see this being helpful is your syllabus quiz for multiple sections. So you can drop the quiz into multiple sections. I think would be very helpful.